Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine, Odesa, and we are starting our work this week. And the first briefing will be dedicated to the means of air defense which are needed for Odessa and the south of Ukraine, those who are already there, and how effective they are. Our speaker is Serhii Sudets, founder of the Air Alert community first in Viber and now in Telegram, who's the Lieutenant Colonel of the National Guard. These messages of the Air Alert are very important for our people. Serhii, thank you very much for being with us. The last week and a half were quite difficult for Odessa, for the region of Odessa and Ukraine. Could you share details of air defense work? And I would like to say good morning to everyone. Hopefully you slept a bit overnight, and we had only short air raid alert at night, and there was only one Shahed drone. And I think that it was good for people that they could sleep before the work week. Russians have been terrorizing our region, our city for 10 days now. They're quite massive air attacks on our region. And we can see the damages, the tragic consequences of these attacks. But I think that we will find solution to the situation because all forces work to the maximum extent possible, but these are hypermassive attacks, and I think only Kyiv saw such attacks and selling in Ukraine. And I remember when Kyiv got the modern air defense systems like Patriot, the situation changed dramatically. They starting shooting down even Kinzhals. Is it possible for the south of Ukraine to get such modern means? Yes, we need Patriots, NSMs, Aristy. These are the system who can cover our city, our southern ports. And I think that the negotiations are ongoing with our partners for them to provide such defense systems to us for ports of Odessa region and also for the ports of Mykolaiv, because our southern ports, they ensure the work of grain corridor to get grain from Ukraine to the rest of the world. That's why it is very important to get such systems. Have you seen any changes in tactics of air attacks over the last 10 days? Yes, Russians now change the formats of their attacks. Sometimes they launch Shaheds first and also launch calibers. These are seaborne missiles, and in parallel, they can use air launch missiles, Ha-22, Ha-59. And they also use coastal systems like Bastions and Onyx missiles, which are launched by such systems. So we can see blended attacks, which is very difficult for air defense system. And our guys, they do everything possible and everything which is impossible to shut them down. Onyx and Ha-22, as far as I understand, are almost impossible to be domed by the air defense systems that we have. That's why you and other experts just advise for people to go to shelters. But actually, that's why we have air raid alerts for people to get to shelters to save their lives. And people should not expect that they will not be hit by missiles and stay at home. During any air raid alert, people should get to shelters, to the places where they can save their lives, lives of their children, and of their families. And Onyx and Ha-22 are for now almost impossible to shoot down, but we try to do this. And if the south of Ukraine can get these modern air defense systems like Patriot, SMT, etc., will it be possible to shoot down these missiles? But we can see the example of Kiev. It also took for them for 10 days to attack Kiev day and night, and then the missiles were shot, and Russians stopped attacking because they understood that there was just the waste of their missiles, and 100% of them were shot down. So if we can protect and defend all ports of Odessa and of the south of Ukraine, it will be very important for us. Michael Vasura, Newsweek journal. What Western partners in Ukraine, Western partners could do for people of Odessa feel safe? Western partners already do a lot of things. And I think that the fact that we don't have the mentioned systems in Odessa, this is just a question of time. As soon as we get that defense weaponry, the ports, Odessa residents will be protected. But even now, defense forces of Ukraine do everything possible to protect Odessa and other cities in the south of Ukraine for people to live on, to raise their children. We should just wait for decisions of our Western partners to get to these systems as soon as possible. And if the Western partners of Ukraine concentrate on this problem only, how much time will it take to supply all the needed resources to the south of Ukraine? And how many efforts could it take? And I think that the decision is already there. And this is powerful weaponry. And it requires a lot of additional equipment for maintenance. So this is not just a system that you could install there and for it to be operative. So we need experts for this, we need training, and we need to take all basic steps, starting from the launching of the system and downing of missiles. All these systems all these elements should work together in one chain. We hope that by the end of summer, we will be able to get something to be more efficient. But what our guys do at the moment is just heroism. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. The journalist who is watching us online has the following question. Sometimes in Odessa, in Kherson, we learn about launching of the controlled fabs, and can we down them now? These controlled aerial bombs, it is impossible to down them. This is an aerial bomb. that have been modernized by Russians. It is called controlled aerial bomb, but it is not that precise. Perhaps we will think of something, but at the moment it is very difficult to shoot them down. The general staffs now does everything possible to just deal with the backup of our enemy, meaning that they try to destroy these bombs while they're still in warehouses. So this is the best that we could do now. Yes, we've seen how the warehouses are attacked in Crimea, for example. The first thing what you think about is that we need not to shoot down the missiles, but the aircraft launching these missiles. Is it possible? Actually, it is not only about aircraft, but also about ships who launch such missiles. And these launches are from the Caspian Sea, from the Azov Sea. It is impossible to reach them there because it is far, and there are no systems in the world that could reach that far. As for ships, they also behind the border of Sevastopol. It is very far from the anti-ship systems. There are submarines. They could come closer, but we cannot see submarines, unfortunately. So the situation is as it is now. But I think that as soon as we get aircraft that we've been waiting from our partners, the situation will be better and it will become possible. And our pilots are undergoing training now. Submarines make launches from under the surface. Yes, that's what they do. And the last question. You mentioned the airplanes like F-16 that will be provided. Am I right in understanding that they will be not only used for counter-offensive operations, but also for air defense of our borders? Yes, that's true. Western airplanes like F-16, F-18 can deal with the enemy's airplanes. Just 8-10 minutes prior to launching, F-16 can already see Su airplanes, and Su airplanes cannot see F-16s. So there is the big difference between classes of these aircraft. And F-16 can attack Su airplanes without being seen by Su. Do you mean Su-24? No, 25, 35. The Su-35 is more modern, so it will take a bit less time. But in any case, F-16, F-18 are very powerful, so they will help us not only to counter-offensive, but also to defend ourselves. If there are no other questions, we will stop here. Thank you, Serhii, for being with us today. And we will gladly share the contacts of our today guests with journalists, for journalists to be able to cover the air defense activities in Ukraine. And thank you very much. And now I would like to address the citizens of Odesa, Mykolaiv, and Kherson Oblasts. Please don't neglect air raid alerts. Please go to shelters. Don't wait, because people think that if they're Shaheeds, they still have time to drink coffee or to do some other things. No. You've already seen how abrupt these attacks are. Sometimes missiles cannot be seen because they just launch from the sea, and it just takes several minutes for people to get. These people have like several minutes to get to shelter. So please don't neglect air raid alerts. As soon as you hear it, please go to shelters. Take care, and I think that if you act like this, everything will be fine. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this advice. As for our next briefings, the next briefing will be in 45 minutes at noon. It will be dedicated to consequences of the Russia's shelling of Odessa that we've seen over last days. Please stay tuned.